Hello. So I'm sick. It's not new, but I think what is new is injury. So just yesterday I dislocated my left shoulder cuz I've been sick for a long time and I had a relapse and then I recovered a little bit and I had another relapse and I recovered a little bit and I had another relapse. So the journey for recovery will be a long one. All right, I'm still on medication, different medication. But anyways, I also have dislocated my shoulder, and not just my shoulder. It's a lot of other parts of my bones and joints are suffering from drastic loss of muscle that I painstakingly built up ever since last year, I guess. But yeah, I have a condition whereby I was born and my joints will naturally fall out of position with the least amount of force possible. So to counter that, I learned martial arts. I built up muscles and then I stopped because of injury from there. So I had a torn ligament, and then from then on it just went downhill. Like really, 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 really downhill. And yeah, I don't think I'm recovering. I'm getting older. I look younger. I'm getting older. Anyway, so this week is gonna be full of surprises. I did not start on time, but I think I told the Discord you guys that I will not be starting on time. I can't start on time. I have no promises with all those things because I need to prioritize my health first if I actually want to recover. So this is what it is. But anyways, let's start. Today we're gonna be writing. So this is what it looks like. The link should be all up on the stream description. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know if the stream is going to work well. I didn't check. I don't have energy to check or do anything, to be honest. I've been in bed the whole day, like bedbound, except for the 2 hours at lunch that I stole a laptop to McDonald's to force myself to write 2 chapters for Marine Princess. Yeah, that's the only work that I've done today, apart from failing miserably to format the Time Cross Academy Sun Showers. I don't think I'll make it for the beginning of Pride Month. Probably the end of first week of Pride Month. And then there's the school as well. The stupid school that doesn't reply properly and don't work official hours. And the lecturer that doesn't know what they're doing either. It's really just all over the place, man. But anyways, without further ado, alright? I'll go through briefly all the Hiragana things. So these are the things that you've been seeing for the past 9 lessons, streams. I won't say weeks because it's been way past 9 weeks. But these are all the words here. So they've neatly arranged this for you in the forms that we've learned according to what the Japanese people would have learned in sequence. So these are the vowels. This is, if you don't remember, this is A, I, U, E, O. And then up here they have all these for you. So you can read the Romanji if you really need to here as well. So this is Kakiku Keko, Sashisu Seso. Why is this blank? Oh no, it's not loading, huh? Yeah, but oh. Yeah, okay, it wasn't load. I'm using Canva, by the way. So it's a PDF version that you can print out, but I'm using Canva for demonstration because I'm broke and I don't have the, what do you call that, Photoshop or something to do layers and write on. So I'm treating this kind of like Zoom class, right? This is Tachitsu Teto, right? This is Chi, and it's yeah, it's not the same. Nani nu ne no Ha hi fu he ho. Please load. There's a total of 10 pages if I remember correctly. Come on, load. Load it, then. Okay. Ma mi mu me mo, which you've seen before. Ya, you, yo. There's only 3 in this one. And then after that, there's technically the O and the N. They're not here yet. This is ra, ri, ru, re, ro. Remember the one that I combined, there were 3 and 3. There's one of the weeks that there was 6 of them. Yeah. So this is wa, o, and n. Okay. So that should be it. These are blanks. So actually, if you do want to have extra writing practice, you can print a couple sets of this. Or you can just take any blank books with 4 grid square systems that you can write. These are the best way to learn Japanese writing. So I'm using a Wacom right now, the one that I bought from donkey years ago, where I only drew 1 book cover by myself, and then after I never used it again because I'm not an artist. Right, so let's see if I'm able to control this. So these are the strokes that they've shown you. So it's like this, straight. Oh my god, this is hard. It's been years since I actually held a pencil. Straight down. I would cross it a little bit more and then around. So this is kind of like no, but you don't actually join that. Hold on, let me try and do something like why is it slanted? I don't know why it's slanted. Okay, hold on, let me just tilt this to a side and see if I can get this to. When I write, I don't know about you guys, but I have a angle that I like to hold my paper on, something like this. Anyway, so yeah, it's oh my god, it's slanting so much. Why is this? Yeah, there's a reason why I don't draw, you know. It's not perfect. I can't even draw a fucking straight line. Okay, there we go. So I normally write it like that. It's supposed to go down like this, but yeah, anyways. So on a grid of paper, you want to have like this going on. Oh my god. Yep, it's horrible. Handwriting stream is horrible. My actual handwriting is not like this, but I don't have any other options right now. So we're gonna do this digitally, and there's a reason why I hate digital writing. So anyways, so this is the best I can do, right? Let's do a couple more. You want the first two to be kind of close, cross over, and then do like a no kind of thing. So if you do it on a blank, it's gonna look something like, right? But then they have like single lines that they give you. So what you do is when you're doing it, yeah, it's gonna look something like that. That's how it's gonna be. But anyways, that's right, E. Okay, although they have this little hook thing, what I normally do is, that's it, that's E for me. It's pretty simple. It's no brainer. One long one and one short one. It's kind of like two brackets facing inwards. That's how I do it. They can recognize this, don't worry, okay? And then after that, ooh, okay, I typically don't have such a nice handwriting, so it's kind of look like this. It will kind of look like this. It's all centerized, by the way, so it's kind of like this. Yeah, they recognize this, don't worry. This one, I don't have like a very nice version of like this. I don't do this. So what I do is something closer to like that. It works out, okay? It works out, it works out. Okay, don't question it. I think the Japanese people will be able to understand this because there's literally no other character that looks like in a form like this. It's Z. It's okay, I learned English. Okay, this one is a little bit tough. So you start out with this in like the top left quadrant, as you can see, a small one here. And then you go down vertically. Make sure it goes past the other half and then turn it. So it's like a no. Don't join it and then leave a little slash at the end there. Alright, so if you do it on paper, you can actually do it a little bit lower, which like I do. It works too, okay? So it doesn't matter where the dot goes. The proper way is to make sure that the dot is on this quadrant, right? But then I don't do that, so I do something like this. A works fine, okay? If it's a little bit on top, it's fine. It's like this is one character, right? And then this is another character, right? So I kind of like see it that way, whereby I just do and it works out. people will understand, don't worry about it. I'm not Japanese, so it's like a cheat sheet for me. It simplifies my understanding of writing this faster. Alright, this one is very similar to a Chinese character that means knife. So if I'm not wrong, this is Dao. Alright, so you just extend this on top and then you add this. So normally what I do is, okay, they keep it all to the left. Can you see? They're very nice about it. They keep it to the left. So the technically right one is like this, right? But then when I write it, it's gonna look something like centerized version of it. Yep, so I do something that's very ugly. It's like this. Ta-dang. Or it can even be straight sometimes, you know. It depends on my fancy. It is like that. And people will kind of understand. Don't worry about that. It doesn't have to slant towards the left. You can centerize this. It's fine. This is ka. Right, ki. There are two ways of writing it. I like to write the second way. This is the formal way whereby they learn the handwriting style. So it's two lines. One that is slanted. It has to be slanted. And then it's like a smiley face, right? This is ki. But I don't do this. Okay, this is not my style. So what I do... and then I do this. Yeah, so sometimes if I write quickly, it's slanted. So these lines are actually supposedly straight. Or it's supposed to look straight, but you know, it can slant this way. And I do like a little curve at the end here. This is what I normally write. This is not what I normally write. But if you want to write it this way, you can. So it will look something like this. Right? I think there is no difference between the top line length and the bottom line length. This is not right, okay? And this is also not right. So I think it's the same length. More or less the same length. Ta-dang! So this is correct. Alright, question so far. I think this is pretty straightforward. This is key. So you have two methods of writing. Method 1 is this, and method 2 is my style. So you can select from there. Obviously, method 1 is a little bit easier for people who don't know how to do the curve thingy, but you see this font a lot when it's printed. Okay, this is cool. You cannot mess this up. This is a parenthesis bracket. Literally a parenthesis bracket. Ta-dang! How can you mess this up? Okay, it is not a tick. So, oh my god, I hate this. Right, it is not a tick, so don't do things like this. Don't do things like this. This is wrong. This is also wrong. Right, let's not do that. This is cool. Okay, to write care, it's very simple. See the left, right on these 4 quadrants. On the left, you have this straight line. You don't have to curve it out. You can even write a straight line, like literally like this. And then on the right, it's just like that. And make sure it's curved, right? But if you write like this, I think people will understand as well. So normally what I do is, ta-dang! So it's yeah, it's either this or it's like this. Both works too. This is like the ugliest version, alright? Please don't. Alright, either this one or this one. Alright, yeah, take your pick. It's fine. This is care. And put them together, like put them close, but do not do this, okay? Do not join his here. No, don't do this. Alright, the next one, the last one here is ko. So ko is literally, it's like an equal sign. Can you see that? It's similar, but you curve it upwards and downwards. So curve up this one, curve down this one. Ko. Look at this. So nice. This one, you can opt it out. Alright, the curve here, it's optional. Optional. Alright, so if you write it, it literally looks like this. But please make sure that this is similar in length, because if you do this, it's now kanji for 2. This is ni. Alright, don't do this. Do this. Alright, try to curve it a little bit more. It doesn't matter if it looks like that. And please don't put it like this. Don't do that. Leave some space, like enough space between the top and the bottom of here. Can you see that? This is cool. I think this is pretty straightforward. Japanese characters are actually not hard to write. Korean characters as well. They're not hard to write. The hard ones are when the Chinese comes in, the kanji comes in. Oh, you'll cry. Right, so similar like the key from above, there are 2 methods. This is the first method here. So you're gonna do the same thing, except you're only gonna do 1 line, like this. Then you're gonna draw a smiley face here. Ta-dang, this is sa. Or the second method that I'll prefer, and I normally do this. This is also sa. This is method 2, which is the one that I use. So if you were to write it here, it's gonna look like that. Or it's gonna look like the one that I do, which is like that. Both are fine. So if you put sun, it's gonna look like this. Sun. Alright, so for example, Ken Sun. Ke Sun. Ken Sun is a name. Ken Sun. Ta-da! That's how you write in Hiragana. Right, she is pretty simple. She is just like a curvy right hook. That's it. It's like a fish hook. That's it. Right, please do not, okay, do this. If you put it up here like this is wrong. Okay, please don't do this. Follow this. So it's just a little bit up. That's it. That's it. Please make sure it's like this. Okay, do not do a U. This is also not right. You don't want it to be too long. You want this side to be longer and this side to be shorter. Can you see that? This has to be long, and then this one is just a little bit. Okay, you can even do this. People will kind of understand this. This is like a maybe. Alright, you want to do something like this. This is good. Next one over here, we have Su. So Su starts out from the top. It's very centerized as well. At this part here, it goes down. It curls up first. Make a circle. And then go down again. Continue it. So it kind of looks like that. I don't know how they do it so straight. I never write my Su straight. Sometimes I write my Su like this. It's ugly, yeah, I know. Yeah, Su can sometimes look like this. So yeah, this one is like, it depends on you. I will never be able to write this, okay? Chibi is never able to write this. Chibi doesn't have good handwriting, so it's either this or this. Okay, this is like the good attempts, and this is like my regular attempts. If I'm writing quickly, especially when you're doing your JLPT test papers, they actually time you when you write it, and you have to write quickly. It's like suru, and then you're like su ru, and then after that ta many. It's just like scribble. So yeah, this is more like me. This is more like me, but this is good, okay? This is good. Please no, this will never be me. Alright, this is su, and then this is se, as in sekai. So, se is a little bit of a top, right, and then this one goes all three. Can you see that? So this is se. Se. Please make sure that it comes down here, alright? If it does not go down, if it's just like this is no good. Alright, this is wrong. So if you write it out, it's gonna look like this. Make sure it crosses and goes down. Alright, please do not also do this. I've seen some people write it like that. This is not right. Please don't do this. There's not a character in here. You don't want to do that, okay? And then this one, this is the one that is fun. It looks like a music crotchet. So a music crotchet kind of looks like this. Zig, zag, zig. And it's like a curve. Right, this is a crotchet. Crotchet rest. It looks similar, so what we do is zig, 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 and then it looks very similar, doesn't it? Except it's not curved, it's now straight. So you want to do a small Z, and then come down with a C. So I would say the first part here is a Z. After that, you do the C, but make sure it's connected. So when you write it, it looks something like that. Ta-da! Not too bad, huh? This is so... Right, next one, this is ta. So ta is also very, very simple. Okay, this one you've seen before in ke, remember? And then after that, this one is ko, right? So now you're just gonna take this off and you're gonna combine this two in a top-down fashion. This one on the left. Okay, they say on the left and they don't actually join, but I don't care. I normally join it and people will understand anyways. Okay, so technically it's supposed to be like this. And then like this, can you see? So this is like the small quadrant and this is like the bigger three quadrants here. This is the good form of writing, but how I normally write it is like this. So I don't care, I like make it all the way long and then I do this. People will accept this as well, okay? People will understand. So when you write it out, it's gonna look something like that. Yeah, it doesn't even have to go all the way down, you know, this is acceptable too. People will understand. Don't worry too much about it, okay? My handwriting is not the best, but I survived. My Japanese teacher for the JLPTN 5 class back when I was 17 or 19. Yeah, they could read this, it's fine. Right, this is ta. And then this one over here. So remember, sa is the other way. So if you turn it around... Now this is... Okay, wait. Okay, let me not confuse you too much, but this is the second way of writing. Can you see that? There is the first way of writing that they didn't put in here. This is the first way. So it's like literally the opposite way. Ah, what am I doing? There is this. There is this. Okay, you literally can do this for chi. Okay, this is like the form of writing, but I normally do this. I don't know why they're not very consistent, but yeah, you can actually do this as well. So it's similar, turn around instead, this way. So it is a mirror image from sa. This is chi. Alright, this is the one that I use. So if you write it out, it's like this. Say tachi. Right, next one here we have su. So this one is the poster boy for Japanese characters. Su. I never write it so neatly like this. I just literally write like, okay, do not do this. This is wrong. Make sure that this part here is literally curved. It has to be really, really curved. And you want a soft line. You don't want a hard line. Reason being, there is another character that kind of looks like this. You don't want to confuse this with 7, as in 7, you know? Don't want to confuse that. So I want you to curve it a little bit more like this. Don't join all the way. It's like halfway through. Can you see? The halfway mark stops here. So when you're writing it, estimate the halfway mark. Yeah, this is good enough, right? This is good enough. Alright, please don't do this. This is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. No good, no good, no good. Leave it halfway. Alright, this one is good. This one is good. This one is good. Follow these. You'll be fine. Right, this one over here, te. They do it very gracefully and mercifully. So normally, it's like a little bit, right? But I have a lot of curve here. Can you see? I have a lot of curve here. And this will be correct as well. So when you write it, it's gonna be like that. Some people do this. and it's fine. This is also fine. Okay, you can even write like this. It's fine. It looks like a T that goes down, but make sure you curve it outwards a little bit. So this is also fine. This is how I normally write it though. This is te, and then this is to. One of the most important ones here, I'll put a star, because to is also the word for end. It's a meaning, it's a particle to join two things together. So you start out with the small one first, and then you go with the big one. So it's not exactly straight. You don't do this. This is wrong, okay? Please don't do this. It's horrible. Okay, start out with the small one first, and then it's like a Y shape. Once you get the Y shape, go down and do a curve. Ta-da, you'll be fine. You don't even have to do that much of a curve, okay? You can even leave it straight here, and this will be alright as well. Ta-da, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. It's kind of like a mix between English and Mandarin. Okay, this one's na. Alright, na, same thing. You see this from ke. So what you're gonna do is you draw this first. So this little head doesn't really go all the way down like ta, you know? Ta is like all the way down here, right? But you don't have this now. It's a little thing here, so it's only the top quadrant. A little bit past. And then you do the second one, which is down. I would like to do the one that's down first, and then I put on the head on top of it, so that it's like the eyes and the mouth and the nose, you know? It's easier for me. So I would actually swap this around with this one. Alright, this is 3 and this is 4. Personally, that's how I was taught and how I do it. So if you write it out, it's gonna look like this. Can you see? Can you see that? It's very fast. Rather than... I don't know how people do this, and I'm not used to it, so I would prefer this method here. Right, it's personal preference, but I will prefer the other method whereby I can see where I can judge where to put the dots on. Right, following that, this is ni. So this is the other half of care. You just take this part of care out. Okay, leave this part here and put a ko. So this is now ni. So for example, it's just literally straight lines and 2 straight lines. This is fine. Literally, this is fine. Make sure that the 2 straight lines, again, they are of the same length. Can you see that? Do not do like this. This is wrong. Do not do like this. This is also wrong. Okay, don't make it long and then short. No, put it like the same length. You don't have to bend it all that much. A little bit bend is fine. Okay, but don't put it so short that it looks like this. This is absolutely wrong. Make sure it's long enough. Make sure these two are the same lengths. That's it. This one over here is a very similar character to one that's called meh, but anyway, this is nu. So we're gonna start with this first. So same thing. It's kind of like can you see? If you master this one, it's gonna be the same here. So this part here is the same thing. So draw this crossover first, and then after that you have the other side. So but instead of starting here, you're gonna extend it. So you start off like this, and then you turn it around, and then yeah, but anyways, I don't have space, so let's try again. Let's do a little bit towards this side, so I have space on that side. So you want this small tail to be on this quadrant here. Alright, your tail to be like here. Ta-dang! That's like the best. So when you write it out, it looks something like this. Okay, normally they give you like blank lines, so you can just figure out the space. But if you are gonna do like penmanship practices, please try to keep it within the square quarters. I'm not very good at controlling this, apparently. Ta-dang! Okay, so this is okay. This is okay. This here is not so good, huh? You wanna keep this in here. That's it. That's the only difficulty. Because the other one is like this. Literally, oops. Oh my god, what happened? The lines are broken. This is meh. This is nu. Okay, this one's easier to write, but you have to keep this in. So it's like this. Ta-dang! This is meh. This is nu. Nu is harder to write than meh because there's a little thing that you have to squeeze in and it's not the same space. For some reason it is this way. Okay, this one, don't panic guys, alright? Let's do the easy part for here. Okay, this is ne. Okay, we do the straight line first. Ta-dang! This one, easy peasy, no problem. Now let me break down the second part to you. Okay, I'm gonna do this slow. We're gonna start here. So we're gonna do a small Z. Can you see that? You do a small Z. This is the broken part here. Can you see the Z here? Okay, once you've done the Z part, go upwards towards this quadrant. Can you see? Oh my god. No. I don't want a straight line. And then after that, go down and do a little tuck of tail. Something similar to this here. Can you see? So it goes down and goes over. But now you gotta do a Z version first. So if I were to draw this, it's gonna look like this. Down, Z, up, tail. Can you see that? down, Z, go up, tail. This is ne, right? Not too difficult. Please draw the Z first and make sure that the Z goes upwards, diagonal upwards. So you want to go from this quadrant to this quadrant over here. Z, up, ta-dang. Okay, not too difficult because you're gonna use the same concept here for wa. Yes, don't look at me like this. Right, this is the poster boy of Japanese, and it's also a particle which means off. Okay, so we start somewhere from the center. It doesn't have to be the center. So anyway, just go from the center anywhere. Turn, join this. When you join this, you just go the other way. Ta-da! But do not do this. This is not acceptable. Too much out here. Okay, and also do not do this. This is not acceptable. So look at this. Okay, so when you write it, ta-da! It's very, very cute. Okay, I know some people you miss the spacing here. It's like, oh, I missed the spacing here. It's like, I guess maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. People can still kind of see that this is no. See, I didn't even touch this, but it kind of looks similar, right? So don't freak out, but try not to cross over. Crossing over is not so good. A little bit, maybe they'll forgive it. But if you don't touch it, then maybe they'll forgive it. But like, you know, don't overdo this and do not join the bottom part. If you join the bottom part, it's going to be a completely different thing now. Right, next, this is ha. Okay, but also, this is a particle if it's with watashi. Okay, if it's with watashi, and then you see this now becomes a wa in reading, even though it's ha. Right, but if you see ha, hana, bi. Oh my god, it doesn't stick. Alright, hanabi. Hanabi, if it's nothing in front, there's no person in front, then this is now ha. So hanabi. Can you see that? Alright, this is important one. It's a be verb. A be verb which can consist of am, can consist of is, are, was, were. So these be verbs normally comes in when there is a person in front. This is person. Okay, you can even change it to him, so kare wa, or like to her, like kanojo wa, or you can say like your parents, so ryoshin wa. It's the same thing. Right, but anyways, we're gonna borrow this line from Ken, and then we're gonna like, you know, add on to the end here. So instead of this, right, we're gonna continue and give it a tuck. Can you see that? Instead of just this, we're gonna continue and give it a tuck. Ta-dang, that's how you do wa. This is how I do it. You can even make this a straight line. It doesn't have to be curved, but this part here has to be tucked. Can you see? It's pretty simple. Right? You'll be writing this a lot if you're doing your JLPT. So the wa is a very common particle. Learn to write this. Right? And then you saw that I actually put this double dot here, right? So there is like this, which is P, and this, which is B. So these are called dakten and handakten. So these are additional things to actually change it. But the original form of this is actually hi. It's like hiruyasumi. So hiruyasumi, like afternoon nap. Hiru as in like afternoon. So he is literally what I wrote up there. But you don't want to do like you like this. No, I don't think many people do this. It's like one that's higher, and then one that's not so high, that's lower here. This is he. So normally I do this. I don't know about other people. I don't see people doing this here. I don't think this is right. But I do this a lot. So I think this is right. So you start from here, get a bracket, go down, do half a U. I would say it's more like a C, and then after that, go down again. Ta-dang. That's how I do it. I don't know how other people do it, but please try not to cross it like this. This is like, oh, this is not right. Do not cross like this. Please do not cross like this. Is wrong. Okay, you don't want any handles. You want it to be closed like this. Can you see that? That's he. Right, full is it's basically you're drawing a face. So full, you start with the hair, the nose, the ears. Ta-dang, full. You're done. Yeah, sometimes it looks like this. So it's kind of like drawing a J with like two wings beside it. You can see it that way as well. J and two wings. Ta-dang. It's not hard. People will understand this. Don't worry about it if it's not too curvy. J. You guys know how to write J, right? You speak English, hopefully. Right, this one over here, it's not too hard, but the only thing is that this part here has to be longer. So I don't want to see this. This is not right. This is not the caret button whereby you forget to write something up there and then you read it. This is wrong, okay? When you want to write this, you want to write it up to down. Can you see? This part here has to be significantly longer than the starting part. So when you write it, it's like this. Right, I see a lot of people, they do this as well. So make sure that it's long. People will understand. This is hair. Alright, for whole, we're gonna borrow that one from cat again from the left side, and then we're gonna add this in. So remember, okay, maybe not. Okay, we haven't gone to that, but there is one character which looks like this. This is ma. We're gonna take this out and we're gonna put this in with the half character from ke. So this is gonna be whole. Oh my god, that was crappy. Okay, let me just try again. Right, you want to keep these two lines here similar in length. Can you see? Don't do this. This is fine. Don't do this. This is wrong. Don't also do this. Oh, this is also wrong. Okay, and the last but not least, don't do this. This is also wrong. So when you do this, you want to make sure it's kept in line and strictly from here. Ta-da! I don't know what's wrong with the pen, but it's doing a little bit of a weird ass thing. Yeah, this one's great. Alright, this is whole. Hopefully that clears it. And then this one, oh, the one that I was talking about from earlier. This is ma. So it's similar to whole, except you take out the one on the left side completely and now you extend it up. This is much easier to write. Ta-da! Look at that. Ah, the tablet had to mess it up. Okay, please make sure that these two lines are actually similar in length as well. Okay, I don't want to see this where it's longer. I don't want to see this where it's longer. I also don't want to see this, which is kind of weird. This is not right. This is not ma. You need to extend this out here, okay? Right, let's go to me. So me is also pretty simple. Me is... Okay, I don't really slant it this way like they do. What I normally do is like this. Like a J. And then I just draw a stroke. So this is acceptable too. So what you do is you want to write a capital J. And then just do a stroke. This is also acceptable, right? J. Curvy J with a long tail out and make sure you put the line there. So this is fine. Right. I will accept any of this, but variations of this whereby it's like that, it's a no-go. Okay, variations of this where it's like that is okay, I guess. I guess it's fine. Plus, please make sure that you have this line over here and make sure it can be seen. Variations of this whereby you just cut it half here is a no-go. Right? And then you can even write it straight. So it's like this. Not even a curve. You just draw a straight line here. This is actually acceptable. I've seen people do this. And they can understand it, so it's fine. Alright, next one over here. This is mu. So remember this one. We had this in su. The one that I cannot do, right? But now we're going to turn it the other way. So relax. Okay, think of it as a J with a little bit of pregnancy. So you're going to do this first, right? And then you're going to come down. You're still going to do the same thing. And oh my god. Seriously, Canva. Curve it up, touch it. But now instead of do... Oh my god, Canva. Okay, I cannot do it slow. One. Curve, go down. Turn right. Don't turn left. Up a little bit. Okay, stop. Now put the head on top of this tail. Right, this is gonna be your mu. Not the best of my attempts, man. But I think it's understandable. Like, people can understand what I'm trying to write. It's good enough. This one's good, okay? You wanna put this the right side, not the left side. You don't have to touch it, and in fact, you shouldn't be touching it. This is good enough. Right, this is mu, kind of difficult. I understand because su is pretty difficult in itself. Can you see that Japanese characters for hiragana, they are very repetitive with the patterns that they use. It's pretty similar all over. Okay, and then this one up here. Right, this one is remember the one that we learned before? It's nu. Remember this tail? Now you take out the tail. It's gonna be much simpler. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, what you want to do is you don't want to touch this, okay? I don't care how you do this, but no touching. No touching is good. If you are touching it like that, this is no good. Look at this. okay? Do not touch the ends there, no matter how it is. Okay, some people, when they first start out, it's gonna look like this. This is a no-go because it touched. Okay, if you are something like this, I guess it's a maybe. What you want to do is try to keep it the same length, which is same length like that, or slightly longer on the outside. That's how you do it. Got it? So keep this short. It's good to draw like a small line and then a bigger line on the outside. This part here, you can extend it. So small line, a bigger line than the outside, and then it looks fat like this. Can you see? It's better than you draw a long line and then you try to squeeze and then you're like, oh no, there's no space. Ta-dang. Alright, draw a smaller line on the inside. That's the trick to drawing meh. Okay, the subsequent one, this is mu. So remember we did mas. Mas curves out this way. Yes, this is ma. Not mas, sorry. Ma. Mas is actually a very common thing. So ma. Si. This is to do. For action. This is the keigo version of it. Like the polite form of it. Shimasu. Tatoeba. Shimasu. Nemasu. Tabemasu. All the mas. Oh, after this, I'll be going through like 2 videos. I put the links there in the stream so that you can watch it and refer to yourself. These are gonna be like the grammar introductions. So anyways, this is mo. Moshi moshi is this mo. So 2 lines of similar lengths and then go down. This way. Alright, you can even draw it like this. No need to curve it, and this would be acceptable as well. You don't have to curve this all the way up. And please no like this. Okay, maybe this one, maybe this one. Alright, but not too long. Like don't be a clown and be like this. This is absolutely not acceptable. Right? This is mo. I don't think there are any questions for this. So mo is gonna look like this. Ta-dang. Good enough. Alright, people can understand. Alright. The 3 in the Y section here, this is ya, you, and yo. So yeah, okay, I honestly don't think this should be like that. Okay, what I normally do is I do this first, right? So it's like a suit. Remember your suit? Okay, add on this and then add this too. 1, 2. Normally that's how I do it. Okay, you can even like suit. Curve it in, and this is also fine. This is also fine. Like 2 straights also fine. I would prefer to like, you know, cut this through. I don't know why they didn't cut this through. I would say do this, okay? God, I've never done this before. This is not exactly right. You have to join this here. From what I recall, there has to be 2 lines. You have to join the second one. It's kind of like sekai, you know? Se. It's kind of like say. You have to extend this out here. Can you see? You gotta extend that. This one here, I don't think this is right. Yeah, please don't learn from the prints. I'm pretty sure this is joined. Alright, so when you do this, it's gonna look like this, and this is fine. This is, yeah. Okay, it's a little bit confusing because there is this thing here. You have to actually include that part there. So it's gonna look like this. So go down first, small, and then do a C. Let's say do a C. Cut halfway or something, and then do like this. It's good enough. So when you write it fast, it kind of looks like this. Ta-da! Okay, you can even do a straight version of this. So like this. Straighter version. Can you see? This is also acceptable. This is you. It's one of the characters that I really hate writing. Okay, this is kind of like a reverse C situation. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to go that far, but you know, it kind of looks weirder if you don't go far enough. Because if you don't go far enough like this, and you can't cut it through so nicely, right? So, if you... Oh my god, yeah, this is one of the characters that I hate the most. My handwriting is not the best, but people understand you like this. People understand you like this. Don't worry about it, okay? I've never made it look this nice. Just like how I've never write the su in the curvy part correctly. Never. This one, yes, this one is yo. Yo is pretty simple. So yo is just down, give a tuck, and then after that, just a line across. Yeah, it has to be a straight line, by the way. This is correct. Please don't do this. The line here, it's gonna look like this, so no. Okay, straight has to be 90 degrees here. This is the charm point of this. Okay, if your tail is not as good as me, but there's a little tail here, people will still understand, but please never do this. Okay, unacceptable. This has to be straight. Okay, no extensions here. Got it? This is yo. Alright, and then go to the R column here, the R consonants. We have Ra. So normally I don't start with this. I will change this. So I will start with this. Can you see that? And then I'll do this. Ta-da! This is my ra. It's pretty simple. Down, curve, dot. Or kind of like a slash. So the curve, remember, we had a lot of these things here. It's the same curve that we're using here. Ta-da! Yeah, please do not join this together. No joining. Separate, okay? You can even leave this a little bit further and people would still understand it. This is fine. This is ra. Although I would suggest putting it closer towards this line starting so that people know that this dot belongs to this character. It's not just some random character. Right, this one over here is also pretty similar to the one that looks like this. But now you just change the orientation from ko and it becomes ri. So it's like a straight line. This one is more straight than the other. And then you have a long line that curves. So this is okay. Okay, this is also okay. Right? You can put this as a curve and you can curve this. This is also okay. You can start this and put this like this. Similar in height. This is also okay. You can do this in a straight variation. This is also okay. You can do this like a straight line and a straight line, and you have to curve a little bit. Okay, a straight line is not so. Let me just. It's not so okay. So there are many variations. Play around with this. This is like the most versatile. This is not okay. You gotta curve a little bit. So when I write, I just write like this, and it's acceptable. Ta-da! This is 理解するです. Okay, 理解. Understand, comprehend something. Right, but this is like the hiragana form. There is a kanji form for this. please don't ask me kanji right now. Okay, and then this one, remember we did this. Oh, did we do this? Oh, we haven't. Oh, it's below here. Okay, no, we haven't. Okay, the one with the tucking tail is normally a oo sound. Remember this guy that we did? Oh my god, why is it so ugly? Remember this one here? This is nu. This one is ru. That's how you remember. Anything with the tucking tail thing, they are pretty much the u sounds. So we do this. This is ro, by the way. So we do this like a ro. So it's like a small 3. And then after that, don't end at the 3. Tuck the tail in. Ta-da! I will leave the tail out and it's correct. They will understand this as well. So you can do it this way, where you can stop here, which is okay. Or you can do it like mine. Both are acceptable. Ta-da! So please don't do this though. This curving part here, you have to do this like a 7. Okay, you have to do like a 7, small one on the top before you do the curvy part. Right? It doesn't matter whether you tuck out or you tuck in. It doesn't matter. As long as there's a little thingy at the end there that curves, it's considered ru. Relax. Japanese people not so fussy, huh? Or at least I'm not in Japan and I never studied in Japanese, like the Japanese government school, so I am not so fussy. People can understand, alright? That's the most important part. This one, remember when I was saying this one that looks like this? This is wa, desho. And then that is the other one like this. This is ne, desho. So you are already very used to this Z thing. Yeah? But now you're gonna, instead of turning inwards, you're gonna turn outwards. Like that. So first with the line, do a Z. Remember, from here, diagonal upwards, come down. Okay? This is not my best attempt. But anyways, when I write it fast, it looks like that. See? It goes outwards. It will accept this. Right? They will accept this. Don't worry. They will understand that this is re. And they will accept this. So you don't have to really go upwards. You don't have to do like this. No need to curve upwards. Just go outwards. Outwards. See? Outwards. Little bit upwards. More outwards than upwards. So you can even draw this straight. Like this. And they will accept this. Alright? Don't worry about that. So it kind of looks like this. This is like the best example. Ta-da! Probably the best one I've ever written as well. Alright, next one. This one is row. So pretty similar there. Do a little 7 thing first. And then after that, ta-da! Tuck it in. It becomes like a 3. This is row. So this line here, you don't want to pass it actually. You don't want to pass this line. So when you're doing the 4-grid system, be very careful. Use this. Pass over, come down, touch this square corner, touch this center line before coming down. Stop at the center line here. That's how Japanese kids practice. But when I practiced this, I didn't have that. So I just wrote it like that. And it's also correct. I didn't have the money to get the specialized 4-grid papers because I thought it was a notebook that the school was selling. And I was like, too expensive already on foolscap paper. And this is my handwriting. But anyways, it's free. This one here is free. Just download the PDF and print it out. It's free. Right, the last one here, finally. Okay, this one here, this is wa. So like I said, you are very familiar with this Z thing. Go up, but now come down this way. Remember to put this here. So we're gonna start here. Okay, do a little Z. Up. And then come down. Ta-da! Do not touch. Okay, I don't want to see it touch. So don't do things like this. I don't know why you would do this, but it's wrong. Okay, Z, go up, come down. That's it. That's it. It's not that hard. It's not rocket science, guys. Okay, this way. This way, maybe they will accept this as well. It doesn't have to be nice, it just has to be recognizable. Okay, as long as it looks something like that, it's not too horrible. Japanese people don't care. You're a foreigner. You're learning their language. It's hard. Okay, this one here is pretty interesting. It is unlike most of the other letters that we've done before. I honestly hated this the most, but it's not as hateful as... It's not as hateful as which one again? Yeah, it's not the most hateful, but it's one of the up there I hate characters in Hiragana. Okay, we start with the easy one first, right? So we go straight. And then now, realize that we have a lot of 7s. Now you gotta do the other way, like that. But you have to add the other way, parentheses, with a bend. That's how it works. So, ta-da. And then, down. It's a C. So I hate this the most. Okay, I hate this the most. So now what I normally do is like that. Ta-da. Acceptable. I gave myself a pass. So I cheat a little bit. Acceptable. I do it like this instead of like this. Whatever that was, like this. Something like that. It's kind of like a ra, you know, like ra. Ra is like this, right? So it's similar in that sense. Like this. A little bit like this, and then tongue. But every time I write this, it looks ugly as fuck. So I don't know how to save myself doing this. I do this instead. It's acceptable. It's wrong. Technically, it's wrong, but it's acceptable. So yeah. See how ugly this is? I don't know how to make it look pretty like that, but it's ugly as fuck. So I will accept this. I normally write like this. I am unashamed to say it is wrong, but it's my handwriting, and people can understand this, so it's not a problem. Right, moving on. Last one here, pretty simple. It's like a, I don't know what is it, Z, N? What do you call this? It's like a N with a tail. Very long one, goes up a little bit like an N and a tail. That's it. This is N. Or you can just write like a W that's lazy, like ta-da! Even this is correct. Look at that, lazy. But this is the laziest character. That's one of my favorites. So it's N. It looks like that. Okay, the nice ones will look a little bit like that. So this one looks like a Chinese character that's Ren, okay, which means people. But then I don't follow that because I'm not very good at Chinese myself. So please do not lift up your pen when you're doing this. It's one stroke, okay? Do not do this. This is wrong. I've seen people do this. Do not lift up your pen. It's one freaking stroke. It's not that hard. That's all for the characters in Hiragana, for the basic ones. Anything else, okay? You can add on stuff for most of those characters on top. And you can put this little thing. Oh my god. The tablet hates me. You can put this little thing, the 2 lines. Or you can put this, the circle. So for example, this is ha, desho. Ha becomes pa, pachi. Pachi, pachi, pachi means to clap. Okay, pa. Chi, pachi means to clap. Okay, from ha to pa. And then this is okay, let me see. What can I change? Okay, for example, tabi. Okay, we do the B first. So this is he, right? Add this 2 in on this column here. This now becomes B from he. So tabi means a journey or to travel or an adventure in some sense. So tabi, so this now from he to be. But this one can also be Pio. Pio-chan. Pio is chick. The baby chicken. Pio-chan. Ta-da! So that is literally the lesson. Alright, I will conserve my energy and do the Dakten and Han Dakten things on the next one. Literally just one slide. I can show you guys how to do it. It's very simple. Just change the sounds. Remember how to change the sounds. You don't actually have to write it out because it's all from the basic things. So I hope this handwriting stream is kind of useful. Right now, I'm going to wait. Let me just adjust the volume. Okay, where is my Streamlabs? Not Streamlabs, OBS now. Okay, I'm gonna pause the BGM for a while. You guys need to hear this, okay? This came from this guy called Jozu Jules. He is JLPT N1, living in Taiwan, and he made 2 videos. So the first one is here, learn Japanese verbs like a native. So there are 2 kinds of verbs. So the first is ichidan, which means you can only change it one way, and this is godan, which is most of the verbs. Okay, verbs are action words here. Okay, anything that ends with must can be changed to different like tenses. We call it tenses in English, but they call it godan and ichidan. So ichidan, only one way to change it, but godan, there are 5 ways to change it. This is the very video that I would recommend you to watch. Alright, and then this is the follow-up for how to use those changes. Listen to this one first. Okay, let me just up the volume. Okay, pay attention. I'll only play it once. You can actually watch it by yourself.
When you're first starting to learn about Japanese verbs, it can be pretty daunting seeing all these weird conjugations and whatnot. Heck, when I first started learning Japanese, I didn't even know what a verb was. But don't you worry, because in this 4-part series, we'll cover how native Japanese speakers learn about verbs and what the textbooks don't tell you. This is the first part of the series, and we'll cover how Japanese people divide verbs into 2 categories. But first, just to cover all grounds, verbs are action terms. That's literally translated from the Japanese doshi, meaning verb. When you talk about some sort of action, that is a verb. And in Japanese, every single verb ends on a uro kana. So that's how you can identify a verb in Japanese. Knowing that, let's talk about the 2 types of verbs, starting with a little exercise. I want you to try to continue this pattern here, starting with the first verb aruku, meaning walk. If we wanted to make this formal, we would add mas and turn this into arukimasu. Okay, great. Next we have nomu, meaning drink. And if we want to turn this into mas form, we do the same thing and we get nomimasu. Pretty easy to understand so far. So next we have oyogu, meaning swim, turns into oyogimasu. And finally, the next one, hashiru, run, hashirimasu. Okay, I hope you see the pattern. So logically, the next word, kiru, meaning wear, would be kirimasu, right? The correct mas form for kiru is kimasu. Nani? So why is it that for all of these verbs up here, the u changes into an I, but not kiru? Well, the answer is that all of these verbs up here are godan verbs, while kiru is an ichidan verb. These are the 2 types of verbs we'll be dealing with today, the godan verbs and the ichidan verbs. There are also 2 more irregular verbs called fukisoku doshi. And that's not to say that there's not more irregular verbs in Japanese, I'm just saying that as it pertains to this video, we just have 2 to worry about. Okay, so let's take a closer look at ichidan verbs. These are single stem verbs, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. First, to identify an ichidan verb, it must end on an iru or an eru. That is to say, it must end with an iro kana plus a ru, or an ero kana plus a ru. Examples of ichidan verbs are miru, to see, taberu, to eat, or kiru, to wear. I have underlined the romaji so you can clearly see where the iru and eru are. This is as opposed to something like kiku, which ends on a ku, not a ru, therefore this cannot be an ichidan verb. Or wakaru, which does end on a ru, but it ends on a-ru, meaning this is not an ichidan verb. But please pay attention to this. All ichidan verbs must end with iru or eru, but not all iru and eru ending verbs are ichidan verbs. That means there are certain words like hashiru that do end on an iru, but is not an ichidan verb. This means that the main takeaway is that if the verb does not end with iru or eru, it is 100% not an ichidan verb. If it does end with iru and eru, then it is most likely an ichidan verb, but it's not always the case. I will talk more about how to differentiate iru and eru ending godan verbs at the end of this video. The second absolute rule for ichidan verbs is that there is only one conjugation, or otherwise you could say only one stem, hence ichidan. What that means is that there is only one way these verbs can change, and that is to drop the ru. For example, let's take a look at taberu. There is only one way to conjugate taberu, and that is to drop the ru, which means that the conjugated form of taberu is tabe. And if we wanted to make the word more formal, we would simply add masu onto the end of the conjugated form of the verb to get tabemasu. Similarly, if I wanted to put it into its negative form, I would put the helper adjective nai onto the end of the conjugated form of the verb to get tabenai. This rule applies for every single ichidan verb, so we can do the same thing for the aforementioned miru and hiru. First, we turn them into their conjugated forms by dropping the ru, leaving us with mi and ki. And to make this formal, we would add the helper verb mas, so we get mimas and himas. And to make it negative, we add nai, so we get minai and hinai. Now, if any of that flew over your head a bit, feel free to just wind the video back to watch it again. Or you can consider signing up to the channel membership at the Dokyu tier to download the worksheet for the entire 4-video course and get access to all the lessons earlier. The worksheet contains more in-depth explanations on stuff like why I consider ichidan verbs to only have one conjugation. Verbs, these are 5 stem verbs. The simplest way to tell whether something is a godan verb is to simply check whether it's an ichidan verb. If it is not an ichidan verb, it is a godan verb. This means that if you see a verb ending on u, ku, gu, tsu, bu, su, nu, or mu, you can be 100% sure that those are godan verbs. Furthermore, if you see a verb ending on aru, uru, or oru, those cannot be ichidan verbs and therefore must be godan verbs. The only time you'll ever get confused is when a verb ends on iru or iru. Again, we'll talk about how to differentiate these later on. The second absolute rule for godan verbs are that there are 5 conjugation stems, hence godan. We can visualize the stems like this, where every verb starts with an u and it can turn into a, I, E, O, or te stems. Of course, it's not limited to just this kana itself. I'm talking about the entire row being shifted. So for example, we can take the godan verb aruku, meaning walk. We can shift the ku here into aruka, aruki, aruke, or aruko. All of these are stem forms of aruku. And what we can do with these stems is put on the appropriate helper verbs and adjectives. For example, if I wanted to turn this formal, I would simply put aruku into its e stem, turning it into aruki, then add masu. If I wanted to say don't walk, I would have to turn aruku into its a stem, aruka, then add the helper adjective nai. I cannot attach masu to the a stem of a verb because that's not how godan verbs work. In order for you to attach something onto the end of a verb, you must know the appropriate stem that it goes on. A detailed breakdown of every single stem and every single possible attachment will be done in the next video. Similarly, it will also apply to another godan verb like nomu, meaning drink. First, let's break down the stems that it has. It has noma, nomi, nome, and nomo. Again, to make this formal, we have to put it into its e stem, so we would go nomi, then add masu. And if I wanted to say don't drink, I would switch it into its a stem, noma, then add the helper adjective nai. Now, you'll notice that I did not include the te form, and I've only covered 4 out of the 5 stems. But this is because te form follows its own te form rules that I will be covering in the 3rd video in this series. Next, let's talk about the fukisoku doushi, or the 2 irregular verbs. Now, don't worry too much about remembering them because you probably already know them and you're probably already using them. Check this out. The 2 irregular verbs are suru, do, and kuru, come. Both of these verbs end on uru, so they cannot be ichidan verbs, which means that they must be godan verbs. Well, let's put your instincts to a test. How do you add masu onto suru? Is it surimasu? No, you already know it is shimasu. And how do we turn suru into its negative form? Is it suranai? Nope, it is shinai. This is all basic information that you should have learned by the time you are watching this video. If you don't know this, then this video is probably too advanced for you anyway. And just to cover all the grounds, let's take a look at kuru. How do we turn kuru into formal? Is it kurimasu? No, it is not. It is kimasu. And how do we turn kuru into its negative form? Is it kuranai? Absolutely not. It is, drumroll please, konai. See, I knew you would get this correct. Again, I will cover every single conjugation in the next video, so for now, all you need to know is that suru and kuru are not godan verbs. Okay, so with iru and eru ending godan verbs, how do we tell them apart from ichidan verbs? Unfortunately, the simple answer is that with a single instance of the word, there is no way to tell. For example, if I were to just show you this list and ask you which one was ichidan and which was godan, it would be impossible to tell. A safe answer would be to say that most of these are ichidan, and you would be correct. The ones in green are ichidan, the ones in red are godan. There are some Japanese teachers that try to come up with some complex rules to tell them apart. For example, this one, nihongosensei.net, has this graph here that says that if the verb is one kanji plus a ru, then it has to be a Godan verb. However, I don't really buy into that because, some words just don't follow those rules. Furthermore, the method that I learned from Kurodali-sensei works 100% of the time, and that is to simply learn another instance of the word, preferably one that uses the verb's E stem. I will elaborate more on the E stem in the next video, but for this video, all you need to know is that the E stem is also called the Great Connector, and it allows Godan verbs to connect to other words. So how can we put the E stem into use? Well, let's take a look at two example words. We have kiru, meaning wear, and kiru, meaning cut. Both of these are iter ending verbs, so how do we tell which one is ichidan and which one is godan? Well, let's take a look at another instance of the word. Here we have a word that I'm sure many people are familiar with. This is kimono, as in the thing that you wear. Ki comes from kiru, meaning wear. Mono means thing. So in order for you to stick the verb kiru onto mono, you must switch kiru into its E stem. However, because the word exists as kimono and not kirimono, we know that kiru must be an ichidan verb. This is because if it's an ichidan verb, all we need to do to conjugate it is drop the iru. It would not have an E stem. This is as opposed to kiru, cut, which is a godan verb, which does have an E stem. So if we were to connect anything onto cut, we would have to switch it into kiri something. For example, we have the word kirikae, meaning to exchange something. If kiru was an ichidan verb, it would have to be kikaeru, but it's not.
Excellent.
Another very common and useful example that we can gather from daily life is deru and iter, meaning leave and enter. Both of these end on eru and iter, so which is godan and which is ichidan? Well, let's take a look at another instance. Here we have deguchi, meaning exit, and iriguchi, meaning entrance. From this, we can tell that deru is an ichidan verb, because otherwise it would not be deguchi, it would be deriguchi. And we can also tell that iter is a godan verb, because otherwise it would not be iriguchi, it would be iguchi. Now that you know what ichidan and godan verbs are, you can move on to learning about what every single stem does and what you can attach to them. Click on the video on your screen right now to learn more.
Alright, I know some of you guys who have never touched Japanese textbooks before or went for Japanese lessons or studied Duolingo are like, what the hell is he talking about? Don't worry. Alright, I'll try to ease in all of these things as we go along. After I finish the katakana versions of the characters, because you definitely need that before you're able to start Duolingo. And I'm taking this very easy. So if you do not remember, don't worry, rewind. I have all these streams on VODs. I'm not deleting them and I'm still keeping them on this channel, even though I have a new gaming channel and I still have my writing channel. So relax. Okay, what Jozu Jules is actually talking about is the most common grammar errors that most basic Japanese learners actually make. It's same with like English learners. Okay, the most confusing thing in tenses for English, what I find that most of my kids, my students make, it's in the verb section. Because we have all these things that are tenses, that are singular, there's plural, there's countable, there's non-countable. Then there are those that are, you know, your past tense, your present tense, your future tense, your irregular tenses and stuff like that. And then you have your perfect tenses, you put them all in and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's exactly the same thing, but Japanese. Yeah, so, it's not easy, but it's also by no means hard. If you understand the concept of how it works, you just need a lot of practice. And also, learning new vocabulary helps you because you're able to apply all this into what you've learned. And speaking with Japanese people might actually help you. If you have chance, like online friends, I would recommend doing that. So this is the second video. Remember, he was talking about ichidan and godan verbs. So ichidan verbs are like the simplified forms of verbs. They're only one way to use them, or really one way to combine them. But godan verbs have different ways to combine them, and that's when the complication comes in. So this is how you actually know like the few basic Japanese words that might be interesting or rather helpful when you're starting off.
Verbs are easy. You see, there are 5 vowels in Japanese, a, I, u, e, o, and all verbs end on the u, ro, kana.
Nice.
In order to conjugate any of these verbs, you simply shift the u into a different row. For example, nomu, meaning drink, can be noma, nomi, nome, or nomo. However, Unlike English conjugations that directly change the verb's meaning, the main purpose of conjugations in Japanese is to allow you to attach helper verbs and helper adjectives. For example, shifting the verb nomu into its e stem, nomi, allows you to attach the helper verb mas to make the word formal, or the helper adjective tai to imply desire. This means that the entirety of nomimasu should not be seen as a single conjugation. Instead, nomi is the conjugation, while masu is simply another helper verb. This means that in reality, Japanese only has 5 conjugations, 4 of which we'll cover in this video. And before we progress any further, if anyone has any doubts about this being the way verbs work in Japanese, a simple Google search of Kokugo Doushi Katsuyo will show you plenty of examples of how Japanese people really learn about verb conjugations. To start us off, let's take a look at the most important conjugation, the E stem. As with every other stem, there are a handful of helper verbs and adjectives that only the E stem can take. However, unlike every other stem, the E stem can also attach to basically every other word. This power of the E stem is also why it's known as the Renyo-kei in Japanese, the connective use form. And this is the most important stem because we see it so often in daily life. For example, if I wanted to say that I want to do something, I would use the helper adjective tai. Since tai can only attach to the E stem, every single Godan verb would follow the exact same rule. Nomu, to drink, would become nomi plus tai, want to drink. Tsukau, to use, would become tsukai plus tai, want to use. Hanasu, to speak, becomes hanashi plus tai, want to speak. Okay, but with the verb taberu, why do we say tabetai, not taberitai? Well, that's because taberu is an ichidan verb, not a godan verb. If you don't know how to tell the difference yet, click on this video to learn how now. The E stem can also attach to regular words that aren't helper verbs and adjectives. For example, nomimono. Nomi, the E stem of nomu, while mono is the noun meaning thing. So drink thing, in other words, a beverage. Tsukaekata. Tsukai, the E stem of tsukau, use. Kata, a noun meaning way. Altogether, it's the way of using something. Hanashi au. Hanashi, the E stem of hanasu, talk, while au is another verb that means to meet. So to talk and meet together means to discuss. There is one final use of the E stem, and that is to nominalize a word. In other words, to turn a verb into a noun. For example, the verb yasumu, meaning the action to rest. Changing it into its E stem gives us yasumi, which means a rest. And if you've ever watched any school-related anime, you would have surely heard the term natsuyasumi, meaning summer break or summer vacation. As you can see, it is through and through a noun. Oh, and by the way, the tool that I'm using here automatically underlines all the words that I don't know, which in this case is just 2%. I can batch create Anki cards with all of these words, including the definition, reading, pitch, sentence and audio, and screenshot, all within a few minutes just by using the sponsor of this video, Migaku. Click this video up here to learn how to use Migaku, or scan this QR code to get your second month off Migaku for... Next, let's take a look at the A stem. Fortunately, it's a lot easier because it only takes a handful of helper adjectives and verbs. Starting with anything negative, you can simply attach nai, z, or nu. For example, shiru means to know. If I wanted to say I do not know, I would change shiru into its A stem, shira, then add nai, shiranai. And to say without knowing, I would add z, so shirazu. And a very old-fashioned way of saying shiranai is shiranu, that's the same thing. The aforementioned nomu becomes nomanai, don't drink, nomazu, without drinking, or nomanu, same as nomanai. Ichidan verbs like taberu do what they always do, simply drop the ru, so you would get tabenai, tabezu, or tabenu. Oh, one more thing, if the verb ends on an u, you do not change it into a a, you change it into a wa. The reason it's like this is just because it's an ancient relic of old Japanese. This, by the way, is the one and single only exception in this entire system. Onto the A stem, you can also attach the receptive helper verb deru, dareru, as well as the helper causative verb siru, saseru. Both of these deserve a video of their own, which I'll link up here once it's done, but the main gist of it is that the receptive deru, dareru indicates that the subject is receiving a certain action. To say that the dog drank water, where the dog is the subject, we can say inu ga mizu o nonda. Nonda being the past tense of nomu. However, we can also say the water got drunk by the dog. In this case, water is the subject and it is getting drunk. So because it is receiving an action, we have to use the receptive deru, dareru. Mizu ga inu ni nomareta. In this case, mizu is the subject because it is marked by ga, and the main engine of the sentence is the verb eta, which is the past tense of deru. Because it is a verb-ending sentence, this is an A does B sentence, where the water does get. What does it get? It gets drunk by the dog. For ichidan verbs, instead of attaching deru, we will attach dareru. So to say that you got eaten, you would not say tabereta. You would say taberareta. The causative seru saseru is also very similar. The short of it is, if I want to say that I make someone do something, or let someone do something, or in any way allow or cause someone to do something, I will use seru saseru. For example, kusuri o nomu simply means to drink medicine, but kusuri o nomaseru means to make someone drink medicine. Obviously, for ichidan verbs, you would use saseru instead of seru, so tabe saseru instead of tabeseru. If that's still a bit confusing, don't worry about it for now. This video was a wide overview of all the tools in the workshop, not necessarily how to use each tool in detail. Next, let's take a look at the e stem. The first use of the e stem is to turn something into a command. So for example, if we turn nomu into nome, nome is the command to drink. Similarly, turning tsukau, use, into tsukae, you are commanding someone to use something. And in anime, you hear this a lot. Shinu, die, turns into shine, go die, or the command to die. For ichidan verbs, it's a little bit different. You can't just leave it blank. You either have to attach yo, or more commonly, do. So for example, okiru becomes okiro, as in the command to tell someone to wake up. The e stem has one more use, and that is to turn the verb into a hypothetical. There are two ways to do this, and the first way is to use the particle ba. This creates a conditional statement. So for example, if I say nomeba, I'm saying if drink. Tsukaeba, if use. Hanaseba, if speak. Ichidan verbs are again a little bit different. You have to use reba instead of just ba. So tabereba is if eat. Okireba is if wake up. The second way to create a hypothetical is to use the helper verb do. Yes, the single kana do is in fact a verb, as can be backed up with the Japanese dictionaries. When you attach a do to the end of an e stem, it becomes the potential form, basically saying that you can do something. For example, nomeru, can drink or is drinkable. Tsukaeru, can use or is usable. Hanaseru, can speak or is speakable. Ichidan verbs being a little bit special as always do not take do, it takes dareru, which if you've been paying attention causes a problem because that's exactly the same as the receptive dareru. This means that taberareru can either mean the receptive got eaten or the potential can eat or is edible. This is not really as confusing as it sounds because it's similar in English. You don't really get confused between to, and to. Furthermore, there has been a recent phenomenon that affects only ichidan verbs called da nuki or da removal. This is particularly common with young people, and it basically removes the da from the potential form. So now instead of taberareru having two meanings, this now strictly means the receptive form, while tabereru is now strictly the potential form. And finally, we get to the last stem, the o stem. Fortunately, the o stem is very easy as it only takes the helper verb u. Yes, u by itself is also a verb. Doing this turns the verb into its volitional form. In other words, when you want to say, let's do something. For example, let's drink is nomo. Let's use is tsukao. Let's talk is hanaso. Ichidan verbs want to take yo instead of just u, so let's eat is not tabeu, it's tabeyo. Okay, so now that we've gone over every single stem, I feel that it is imperative to explain why I said we should not treat this entire thing as one single conjugation, but instead learn that this is the conjugation and this is a separate verb or adjective. And there are two reasons for this. The first being, when we start to combine different forms together, this makes a lot more sense. For example, if I wanted to say that I was not made to drink something, I would first have to start with the verb nomu, then change it into causative because I was made to do something, then change it into receptive because I'm the one receiving that order, then change it into negative because it was not made to do something, then change it into past tense because that's the tense I chose. Now, it sounds like a mouthful, but it can actually be accomplished pretty easily. So first we start off with the plain form. Next, we need to attach the causative setter. And how do we do this? That's right, we have to turn this into its A stem. So we can simply change this into ma, then add setter. This gives us nomaseru. But how do we turn this into receptive? Well, if we treat setter as an individual verb, which it is by the way, according to the Japanese dictionaries, then we can also understand that setter is an ichidan verb because it ends on eru. As such, to turn setter into receptive, we simply cut off the der. So this gives us da, de, der. Because remember, ichidan verbs don't just take deru, it has to take da, deru. Okay, so now that we have another verb here, da, deru, how do we turn this into negative? Well, look again. How does this end? Deru, meaning this is also an ichidan verb. We can simply cut off the der and add nai to turn it into negative. And finally, to turn the adjective nai into past tense, it's something that I haven't covered in this video, but basically we just turn this into nakatta. As you can see, we can simply break this down into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps. It is 100% logical and shows the Lego-like structure of the Japanese language. The second reason relates to this ancient video that I made in the past, explaining how Japanese only has 2 types of sentences and how the end of a sentence changes what type of sentence it is. So if we take a look at these 2 sentences, biru o nomu and biru ga nomitai, we can discover an oddity here. You see, in the first sentence, it ends on the verb nomu. Therefore, it is an A does be sentence. And the o particle is the direct object of the verb nomu. So A does be, subject does verb. What is the subject? Subject here is marked as 0 ga, so it is it. It does drink. What does it drink? It drinks beer. However, in the second sentence, it ends on the adjective tai, meaning it is an A is be sentence. And so in this scenario, the O particle makes no sense because there is no verb to attach to. That is unless you understand that the nomi and the tai are separated. In this way, the O particle can attach to the nomi while the tai stays as the engine of the sentence. Which means that biru nomitai is an entirely valid, grammatically correct sentence and is not an exception to any of the core rules. It is simply said less commonly than biru ga nomitai. To learn more about the O particle, the adjective tai, and subjectivity in Japanese, click on this video up here. Finally, if you've been doing your own research, you would have also found this chart that Japanese people use. This system wants to call both the O stem and the A stem as the mizenke. So if you ask someone where do I put nai and they tell you the mizenke, they are basically saying that you can say nomonai, which you cannot. In other words, this system is flawed and we should stop using it. To put everything you've learned into practice, click on the video on the left to find out how to use this website called Dawn's Japanese Conjugation Drill. And if you want to learn about the 5th stem, the te form, click on the video on the right.
Alright, so the entire video here is very technical, but the one thing that I need you guys to know is this very Lego-like structure that he's done in here. Okay, because this is exactly how we learn Japanese bit by bit, which I honestly wish my teacher taught me using this method. She's not Japanese, so Tomoko sensei is like my first Japanese teacher. No, second Japanese teacher. Tomoko sensei actually uses this method, but then the teachers before Tomoko sensei, they're from like Taiwan or something, or Hong Kong, and they don't actually teach using this method. They just made us memorize a whole bunch of things with the E stem and the S stem with the te forms and stuff like that, and then we had to regurgitate all that information with the correct list of like 200 verbs or something. It was hell. But Tomoko sensei, she used something like this and it's very useful. So she had like a variety of markers with like different colors, something like what this guy is using. So you change the form at the end according to what you need to get the things that you need to answer with. It's a more technical aspect that I find a lot useful, which I will try to create when I'm like, you know, past this stage of like basic characters with you guys in subsequent streams. Like I said, all the things that Jozu Jules has covered so far is up to like JLPT N4, N5, which you can easily accomplish by learning from Duolingo. But anything more than that, you have to actually attend like formal lessons to learn the Japanese that you need, because self-studying past the stage of N4 is going to be difficult. N3 onwards, I would say N4 is kind of like, okay, N5 is elementary Japanese, so you'll be able to speak with Japanese kids like they're grade 6, right? They are like 12-year-olds and stuff like that. They're middle schools. By the time you finish N4, you'll be like, you know, finish their middle schools. You'll be able to talk to like native Japanese, like the casual ones, all right? But then N3 onwards, it's kind of like high school Japanese stuff. If I'm not wrong, it's around there. So it's getting progressively, you know, the minimum requirement for, you know, people to be employed in Japan itself is JLPT N3. So you really need that level in there, JLPT N3, to be able to work at places like convenience stores, which there are a lot of foreign people who work in Japanese convenience stores. They come from countries like the Middle East and they work in Japanese convenience stores. Those are like N3 levels. So like service standard level, like employment level, minimum N3. N2 is gonna be business Japanese already. So you definitely need a coach for that. I don't think it's possible to self-study from N3 onwards. And N1 is literally what you write for your university thesis. Those kind of Japanese grammar levels you usually don't find, not even in business Japanese. So the highest that you really need for employment, basic employment, is N3. Then N2 is for business Japanese, and then after N1 is for if you really want to study in Japan, like, you know, your thesis and you want to write your master's papers and stuff like that. Yeah, you'll need N1 Japanese for that, but no. What level am I? I was taught till N5. I self-studied to somewhere in the middle of N4 because back then I was working at a company in Singapore that's owned by a Japanese boss. So Makino-san was the one who spoke Japanese with me every day because I go to work there and he speaks Japanese, and then I understand Japanese, but I don't really, you know, have the chance to access Japanese in itself. But I was working on the office backend, so I didn't have a lot of chance to reply him in Japanese. I wasn't in the service sector. I was working as an administrative and procurement finance assistant back then. So yeah, I improved from there. I picked up from there. So I'm about N4 right now. Plus I completed the entire Duolingo Japanese course thing before they added 50 more lessons to it, which I completely didn't touch after that because I was so mad. But yeah, in terms of vocabulary, of course, I am not up to par because I don't really study the kanji and stuff like that. But in terms of the grammar, I am around N4 level. So yes, I'll be able to help you guys to reach like at least an N5 level, you know, with the TEF form. The one that Jozu Jules did not go through in his video is actually the TEF form, because the TEF form has a set of rules that we will make to memorize. It's part of the N5 Japanese level, and it is made so that you guys know when you go to Japan that the TEF form, is something like okay, remember Jozu Jules in his videos earlier, he mentioned tai as a form of a verb helper to tell you that you want to do an action, right? So in English, it's something like a future tense. It's similar to the expression. However, there is a difference because this tai is only used for verbs, which means actions. It can only be done with actions. And you cannot use this same meaning of want in nouns. That is a word in itself, which is also, ironically, an action. It's hoshi. So, for example, you want a pen. Pen ga hoshii desu. That's how you use it. You cannot put tai behind pen. So, it's a very... Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but it's fine. Don't worry. Ryori shitai. Ryori is cooking, right? But then you have to do the cooking. So, shi comes from suru. Ryori suru. Ryori shitai, because suru has to change to the e form from the u column to the e column, which is the eyes, and then it becomes a su to shi. So su, suru, take out ru, change the su to shi, put the tai behind. Shitai means want to do. that it will all be covered in JLPT N5 Japanese grammar, so don't worry about that. It will take a long time because there is the I column, which I just said, like shitai, okay, and then there is also the E column, so it's a te iru. Yeah, anyways, let's not go to that painful memories from many years ago. I have to like validate all these information before I actually, you know, make it into a stream for you guys. I don't want to be teaching the wrong thing, so I need time to validate all these. But in the meantime, you guys can practice with the free materials for the writing for hiragana itself, right? The handakten and the additional stuff for the pronunciation will be a very short one more stream, depending on the condition of my health, because I just dislocated my left shoulder yesterday, and then I had to sleep the whole day today. I don't know why my body is like breaking down. My kneecaps popped and they were not popping in the right direction, so the lack of muscle mass is ruining my bone condition terribly in that sense. I have to like literally dry my hair, lay down, and go to sleep immediately after this. It is bad enough. But anyway, so yep, tomorrow the stream will still be on. I don't think I'll be able to make it for 9:30 a.m. I will set an alarm, but there's no guarantee that I can actually get out of bed even though I set an alarm, because the condition is this bad right now. I'm not even exaggerating. You can't see me because I'm a VTuber, which I'm damn thankful for, because if you did see me without my VTuber avatar, right, my VTuber has eye bags. Take a look at that, right? The IRL me has like eye bags that make me look like I've been punched in both eyes. It's that bad. I slept the whole day, but it's still like this. And due to like the anxiety attacks or something like that, like I bit myself on the tongue, so it's kind of difficult as well. And my voice not exactly coming back. You can tell like the pronunciation and everything is off-centered. But anyways, I'll see you guys for the next two streams on Tuesday and Wednesday. Timing is not guaranteed, so just RSVP. If I go live and you can catch it, it's fine. If you don't and you want to watch the VODs, it's also fine. And if you don't feel like it, it's also fine, because I am not in the best spirits or conditions. But yes, feel free to leave all your questions if you cannot catch this live in the comments or on Discord. I'm available, right? If you are actually self-studying Japanese right now and you have some questions, please also leave them there. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. Honestly, if I don't know, I will not pretend I know stuff. Right? Google and ChatGPT is probably like your best friend right now. But yeah, if you don't understand Google and ChatGPT, just feel free, okay? I can spare some brain cells right now. I may be bedridden, but I can spare some brain cells. Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for joining. I'll see you again tomorrow and on Wednesday on my different channels, right? Announcements all on Discord.